All right, don't misunderstand me here. I am comparing you to Aroldis Chapman, but I don't need you to be Aroldis Chapman. I just want you to have a visual, okay? So he's left-handed, but that doesn't make a difference, okay? So here we have you leg kicking, okay? So we have his back knee, front knee goes to his back shoulder. Yours could be a little bit higher, but for the first time you getting on a mound and practicing this is totally fine. But it can be higher than your hip, okay? So right now, your knee is hip level, his is higher than his hip, okay? So far, this is fine, okay? I'm going to show you this position. So this is where your hand goes down. I'm going to show you where his hand goes down. Okay, so that's the bottom of his hand. So you can see just the difference in position. The biggest thing I see is that he's gone farther and his body is more turned away. So if I was the batter right now, I would be looking at you sideways, where I would be looking at his back, more of his back than yours. So this is very common in good pitchers and good throwers in general, is that they essentially move turned away, okay? For many reasons, you don't need to know why, but if you look at this, you could say, oh, I can be more like that, okay? I'll go to where your foot comes down, okay? And I'll go to where his foot comes down. So your upper half is actually pretty good, okay? You could be a little bit more turned away, but this is what I want you to understand and see, because this will change how you think about throwing, okay? If I look at his right foot, so it would be your left foot. Your left foot goes down and then goes left. If I look at his, you can see that his foot kicks toward us and makes a little half circle out on his chest side, okay? He does this so his leg doesn't come open and out from under him early. This is very easy for you to copy. All you would have to do is try to take a path like this with your right foot and practice that over and over and over again so it ends up over here instead of left like it is for you right now. Okay, so you just need to focus on the path of that left foot and copy what you see here, and that would pretty much fix that. So let me help you understand why you do that, okay? So I'm gonna throw out a big number here, and you're not gonna know what the heck I'm talking about. 80% of velocity can be attributed to hip and shoulder separation. What that means is this: when Aroldis Chapman's foot comes down, his left hip has turned well ahead of his left shoulder. So right now, his left shoulder is facing second base, and his left hip has turned well ahead of that. One more time. 80% of velocity can be attributed to hip and shoulder separation, meaning your back hip turning ahead of your back shoulder. So what your body's trying to do by you stepping out is trying to turn your hips. So that makes a lot of sense that your body does that. It makes sense that kids do this. What we talked about early in the lesson is that this affects our direction and our momentum. So we want to get our body moving where we're turned away, and when we go open, it opens up toward the plate instead of right now where you go to open, it takes your body this way away from where you'd be going instead of being toward home plate. So don't think, oh, I stink. What you're doing actually makes a lot of sense. It just isn't the best way to pitch. It's not the best way to be accurate. It makes sense for power, it makes sense for throwing the ball far, but it doesn't make sense for throwing the ball accurately. So a couple things we talked about tonight were, once an object is in motion, it stays in motion. So that's momentum, okay? And a property of momentum is that it has direction. If something is constantly changing direction, it's going to lack momentum, okay? So those are Newtonian laws, Isaac Newton. And I bring them up because typically I work with a lot of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, and they've heard those things before. But I don't think you're stupid. I think you're a pretty smart kid. So I'm going to introduce them to you a little bit early. So those are the things that I see. I like your leg kick. I think you are very athletic. I think the biggest difference is how he uses his legs. he goes farther, and he lands with his shoulders closed and his hips forward, because 80% of velocity can be attributed to hip and shoulder separation. So what does that mean for you, dude? Use your body. Get your body going toward your target, and you need to use your legs to throw the baseball and try to let your upper half follow that. Okay, so here is him into pitch release. Here is you into pitch release, and you can see the differences. And that's not good or bad, but right now those are just the differences. Okay, so you will have this on YouTube for as long as you want it.